Hello everyone, it's Melissa Raymond here from Your Journey to Healing. I help parents with information on eczema. I bring the bigger picture information all into one place so that they can stop searching for this information themselves and they can really start moving forward with taking action on helping their child. So the other day I came on and did a Facebook Live and I talked about probiotics for eczema. And while we talked about the research being a little bit disappointing in that there's no one probiotic for eczema and the use of probiotics are not supported with the evidence as a treatment on its own for eczema, it's not that surprising that a probiotic on its own is not going to help eczema. And that is because gut health is a bit more complicated than just fixing one particular strain or imbalance. The other thing with probiotics is they don't stay in the gut for very long. They don't actually colonize. They don't take over and start growing themselves. It's just an ongoing process. So if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. If you're watching live or on replay, let me know where you're from. I'd love to see that the reach of Facebook and that a lot of people who join my community are from overseas as well. So this might be a dreadful 2 or 3 a.m. time for you, but that's the beauty of it. You can watch it on replay. So with gut health, with probiotics, they don't stay in the gut and they don't colonize. So it's really important, and I think people are starting to hear a little bit more about prebiotics. And a prebiotic is a substance or a food that feeds specific beneficial bacteria in your gut, so that you can have improved health benefits or health outcomes. So this can be foods that often we think about probiotic foods as being foods that are the color of the rainbow. They can be high in polyphenols. They can be things like FOS, fructooligosaccharides, galacto-oligosaccharides. These are prebiotic fibers that are found in different foods, fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds. So the reason why we do want to have, eat all the colours of the rainbow or eat a wide diversity or a wide range of foods is because those different foods can feed the different microbiota or the different bacteria in our gut. And when we start to go on these restricted diets for eczema or allergies, then we can start to really restrict the foods that our beneficial bacteria need to thrive. And then they start to reduce and the diversity of our gut bacteria starts to reduce. And then we find that we can't tolerate as many things anymore and we start to restrict the food variety even more. And then we're essentially starving our beneficial bacteria, and that's what we want to avoid. So we want to avoid elimination diets long term. They're an elimination diet to try and figure out what you might be intolerant to is really a diagnostic measure, a diagnostic tool, so that we can work it out and then start to make a plan. So an elimination diet is not a long-term strategy and it can be quite damaging as well. So we want to try and feed it have that wide variety. Jason Horolak talks about, and the research talks about, having 40 different vegetables per week. Not 40 vegetables per week, 40 different types. So you might have, for example, let's work that out and how we would actually do that. It might be that you have 3 different types of lettuces. That would count as 3. So you might have that mixed mesclun lettuce mix. You might have iceberg lettuce, rocket, spinach. You might have broccoli sprouts. You might have red potato and white potato, and you might have, the different colours of vegetables also count as separate vegetables. So have a look at what you're eating in your diet and make sure that we're looking at that wide variety, having lots of colours on your plate. They contain a lot of polyphenols, those colourful vegetables, and the polyphenols help with supporting our beneficial bacteria in our gut. So not all is lost with not having that probiotic. Often probiotics are really expensive as well. So if we can supplement and feed our beneficial bacteria instead of just adding a bacteria into the diet, we're actually feeding the bacteria that are already there and supporting them. That's probably cheaper in the long term anyway. And then you're also getting all the beneficial nutrition from those different vegetables and things that you're eating as well. So I'm going to come on again another time, not today, but we're going to talk about prebiotics specifically and what they are, and put that in a little bit of context for you. But I just wanted to come on and check that you're not disheartened about the probiotic use for eczema and there being no current evidence to support that. The other thing that I will say is research is really expanding in this area of probiotics for gut health and probiotics for different health conditions. Poor gut health is linked to mental health, it's linked to chronic diseases, eczema, allergies, even asthma. So we want to make sure that we then work on strategies to help improve our gut health for overall health as well. Things that will impact on gut health is, again, we talked about restricting the diet and having only a small range of things that we eat. The way that we're born affects our microbiota diversity. So babies who are born via C-section or vaginally, they will have a different microbiota from birth. Breastfed versus formula fed, that also have a different diversity and microbiota. Antibiotic use, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, PPIs, which are proton pump inhibitors, and they are used for things like reflux. Nexium is an example of that. Medications can really change our diversity of gut health too. Lifestyle affects our gut microbiota as well. So if you have an urban upbringing or if you're living rurally, that can change your gut, the bacteria that we're exposed to can affect our microbiota diversity. And even now the research is coming out about food additives actually impacting on microbiota diversity in our gut and reducing the beneficial bacteria. So that's a really great reason, another great reason to really look at the food additives that are in our foods. Start to read labels. If you don't read labels, start reading labels, and start to try and get back to eating fresh as much as you can. So eating as close to a food in its raw state as possible. I certainly couldn't do a raw food diet, but least processed as much as we can to what we eat. There is a saying, we are what we eat, but we're also what we feed our beneficial bacteria. We are what we feed our gut microbiota. So I've had a bit of a shift lately in the last 8 years or so, actually thinking about what I eat and the impact of that on my gut microbiota. And that sounds a bit nerdy, perhaps. I am the research nerd, so you don't have to be. But it just changes the lens of how I look at things and what I eat. So it helps me make better decisions about what I eat, because I think about my gut health most of the time. Okay, that's enough for me on this Friday morning, or whatever day it is if you're watching back on replay. If you're not already in our Facebook group, I would love to invite you into that group. It's facebook.com/groups/eczema, allergies, asthma. I'll put the link in the comments below and you're welcome to join it. Make sure you answer the questions, or I'm not going to let you in. It doesn't take long to answer the questions. And you can say no to all of them, or say yes to the first one, and we'll go from there. And if you'd like to learn more about eczema with the bigger picture, with that information, if you're a parent out there or an adult with eczema yourself that wants has sort of had enough of searching for the information out there, and you'd rather just get the information and move forwards with it instead of, you know, staying in this stressed, anxious mode of trying to find out everything for yourself. I've already done the research for you. And yep, I am that research nerd so that you don't have to be. I've pulled it all together in a program called the Eczema Roadmap, and I would love to have you part of that program if that feels like that would be right for you. I go through all of the research on eczema and the genetics, gut health, in the environment, lifestyle, how to manage stress, how to work with health professionals, so that you can grab this information and really get forward and move forward with those action plans. It's going to save you hours of searching for this information on the internet, and not all of it's, you know, out there and easily accessible, right? It's a bit of digging out there for this information. So I'd love you to join my eczema community if that suits you, if that feels right for you. I'll pop a link in below as well if you feel like that is something that you're needing, or if you feel like there's someone else in your life who is going through this at the moment, please share that with them. I would love to welcome them into the community as well. Okay, I'm going to say happy Friday. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you on the next video. Bye.